welcome to February 21st, 1941. I'm Henry Chop, your host. That was a Friday, and I will tell you what we are going to watch and listen to in just a minute. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. If you love old-time radio, film, and music, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications as to when a new upload will premiere. If you are interested in World War II as much as I am, check out our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel. Expand the description section to this video and you will see a link that will take you there. Now, I'd suggest listening to the latest upload to decide if it's your thing. Over there, you will hear the Chicago Tribune read to you for between 90 minutes to 2 hours. You will get a much more detailed look about what it was like to actually live through World War II than I can give you just by sharing radio broadcasts. You will not only hear detailed news of the big battles and historical events, you will hear trivial facts about the war. You will hear news from the United States home front from the early stages of U.S. mobilization and war protests to Pearl Harbor and the ramping up of the war machine to the final victories and reconversion. You will hear every facet of American life change forever. My name's Henry Chop. I'm your host, and we are into vintage entertainment. That's what we do here, vintage entertainment, movies, music, mostly old-time radio, but we delve into the other things every once in a while. Over here, we recreate radio schedules, which is kind of a neat thing, and I do my best to place the programs on the day of the week that they originally aired. For instance, we are on a Friday, and all of these programs are dated December 21st, and that happened to be a Friday back in 1941. So that is a pretty cool thing. So you are actually listening to these programs on the day of the week that they originally aired. Now, we are going day by day through World War II in consecutive order as much as possible. Once in a while, there'll be dates where there's no radio program, so you will not hear me on that date, but still, it is some really neat stuff. In other days, I might have 9-10 hours, and if there's a big event going on, you might have 24 hours of programming. I could think of a couple instances where there's just consecutive programming, and you will hear radio I'll do the upload for that long. It is a really neat thing. Well, let me tell you what we are going to listen to and watch tonight. We're going to start things off with Chapter 7 of The Green Hornet Strikes Again. It's a movie serial that we watch every day on this, well, not every day, every Friday on this channel. And then after that, we have The Lone Ranger. The Lone Ranger aired at 4:30 in the afternoon in Chicago. I use Chicago times because, well, I'm based in the Chicago area, and that's what I revolve this channel around in a way. And then we're going to have The Adventures of Superman. This program did not air in Chicago, but it did air in New York at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And that is a serial as well, so that's kind of a neat thing. You get to listen to it 3 times a week and hear the story unfold. And then we have more of an adult program. Well, it's a very adult program. Information, Please, at 7:30 in the evening over NBC Red. And that is a quiz show, but it is a very highbrow quiz show, but it's a very good quiz show. I think you will enjoy it. So, you know what? Without any further ado, let's watch and listen.
happened? What happened?
It's locked. Get busy.
Get some water, quick.
Stand up with your hands in the clear.
What do you want? Who are you? The Green Hornet.
Yes. Now answer my questions if you value your life. Are you in charge of this lab?
Yes. Yes, I'm the chief chemist here.
Why are there so many fatal accidents here? Speak up.
We're working with very dangerous chemicals.
What are you making?
I cannot tell you. I'm sworn to secrecy.
You are going to tell me. What are you making?
An anti-aircraft bomb.
Why should that work be so dangerous? Don't lie to me. Give me the details.
I can't tell you. It's a government secret.
What government? Answer me.
I can't tell you. They killed me.
Find the main switch and cut off the current. We can't get him out of here now.
Is he dead?
No, just badly shocked.
Where was that explosion? You got me. Unless it came from the lab. That's it, the lab. You call the others.
The guard. We'd better go.
Just a minute. Weaver may be carrying something interesting. Weaver's notebook fully explains his invention, doesn't it?
Yes, Mr. Britt. The inventor itemized every detail of his anti-aircraft bomb. Supplied with these, our anti-aircraft defenses would be impregnable.
Yes, and in the enemy's hands, our attack would be highly ineffective, wouldn't it?
Absolutely ineffective, sir. The bomb works on the scientific principle of magnetic attraction. That means particles, highly magnetized, will automatically move with great speed toward metal.
Well, in other words, once the bomb explodes, the fragments would tend to find their own targets, which in this case would be the motors of the attacking planes. Is that right?
That is correct. And according to this, every airplane within 1,000 feet of the explosion will be hit.
That's very ingenious. Say, do you know anything about this Dr. Bedlow? His name is in the book.
Yes, he's an inventor and a very well-rated scientist.
Could he have been the man in the laboratory?
Absolutely not, sir. I know the doctor by sight and by reputation.
Still, he might be mixed up in this anti-aircraft bomb business.
I do not think so. He's a scientist, living entirely in a world of abstract thoughts.
Suppose you go to his place for some advice on one of your own inventions.
I'll be very glad to do so. I'll go this evening.
Good. You might find out something important about the identity of the inventor of the anti-aircraft bomb.
Think hard, Weaver. Was there anything else in that notebook the Hornet took from you beside the layout of that bomb?
You better come clean with us.
I've told you repeatedly there was nothing in that notebook except the electrical and chemical formula.
No names?
Here, or telephone numbers.
None except Dr. J.C. Bedlow's.
Bedlows? Who's he?
Does he know anything about this bomb?
He knows all about it. I've been consulting with him privately, all the way through.
Holy cats!
Wait a minute. Wait till Manning hears of this.
Sit down, Weaver. We're not through with you yet.
Say, Weaver has a partner that's been working with him on that anti-aircraft bomb.
A partner?
Then he must know all about the bomb. Who is he?
Dr. Bedlow. His name is in that notebook the Hornet took from Weaver.
We've got to get hold of him right away and stop him from talking.
I'll make that Weaver tell me where Bedlow lives.
Get Bedlow. Take him out to Foley's old house on the Fulton Road. Here's the key. Better take Dolan with you. I'll have someone else watch Weaver.
What's a good word?
We got the anti-aircraft gun.
Good.
And the right type for the anti-aircraft bomb.
It's out where we're going to make our test?
No, it's still at the factory.
But you said you had it.
Now, look, this thing is risky. It takes a lot of figuring out.
I know all about that. What about our undercover man, Evans, at the factory?
He's done his job all right, which was to let me know when the right type of guns were coming through and being delivered. Sent me word today.
And now it's up to us to pick one off. Is that it?
That's right. They're being delivered to the armory late this afternoon. The gun we want will be on a covered truck heading out along the Red River Highway.
The bombs are all ready, which means we can make our test tonight. I'll phone Manning to hijack that gun.
Manning talking. Yes, boss. They're right here.
What's up? Something important?
Mm-hmm. Yes. The Red River Highway. All right. I'll send the boys right out so they can find a suitable place to operate. Well, it's up to you two now.
What is?
The gun we've been waiting for is leaving the factory at 4 o'clock in a covered truck.
Good.
Where do we pick it up? I'll show you.
Hey, now, slow down. If them things are what they look like from here...
That's just what they are. This man's dead.
This fellow's alive.
They hijacked us. They got away with the anti-aircraft gun.
Anti-aircraft gun? Who did? Tell us, man.
We gotta get this man to the hospital.
Listen, as fast as we can make it. What about the other one? We take him to the morgue and notify the police.
Why, can you imagine running into a story like this?
Did you see Dr. Bedlow?
Yes. As I was driving toward his home, I saw Dr. Bedrow struggling with 2 men who were dragging him from his house. They threw him into a car and drove away.
Did you follow them?
Yes. They took him to that house on Fulton Road, the place where we had the trouble with that Mr. Foley.
Foley's house. And Dr. Bedlow's in the hands of the racketeers.
I am sure he is.
Let's get the Hornet outfit. We're going to call on Dr. Bedlow.
Why don't you sit down, Doc? That marathon ain't gonna get you any place.
Silence the motor. We're almost there.
If I need help, I'll whistle.
You know, come to think of it, Doc, you and old man Weaver must have been pretty smart inventing that anti-aircraft bomb.
I wouldn't have had a thing to do with it if I thought for a minute it was going to fall in the hands of criminals.
Wait a minute, Bedlow. Who's a criminal?
You are. Keep your hands up.
The Green Hornet.
That's right. I am the Green Hornet.
What do you want?
I wouldn't do that if I were you, Doctor. Now, Dr. Bedlow, I came here to help you.
No, the Green Hornet never helped anybody. You're a master criminal.
You are the innocent victim of a dangerous plot that may involve our country.
Shall I tie these men up, sir?
Yes.
What is the meaning of this? What do you want with me?
I want the truth from you, Doctor.
Well, if it's about the bomb...
I know all about the bomb and your association with Weaver and the Grimbold steel plant. What I want to find out is, for whom are the Grimbold people making these bombs?
I don't know. I don't know a thing about it.
Tell the truth, Doctor. If you don't, it may cost the lives of many people.
I've told you the truth. I don't know. Nobody does. Except Manning and the people he's working for. They're expecting a telephone call from Manning now. Any moment. I didn't know what Weaver and I were letting ourselves in for.
I heard that when I came in. Keep an eye on the doctor. Hello.
DeLuca?
Yeah.
Now get this straight.
I'm leaving the mill right away to deliver the bombs.
Yeah.
Tonges will fly his plane to the field on Fulton Road, just south of Claremont, where he'll transfer to our other plane. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Leave Dolan to guard Bedlow. Then you get over to that field and watch Tonjes' plane. He'll be leaving there within 20 minutes, so make it snappy.
Okay. We're leaving you here, Doctor. You'd better call the police to get these men and take you home safely. Come on.
Cato. We're too late?
Not yet. I'll follow that fellow with this other plane.
All right. Seems to know his business.
He ought to. He's a deserter from the artillery.
That's Tonjes now.
Shell. Don't forget, give him plenty of time to bail out and get in the clear.
I know. Don't fire right at the plane. We want that shell to explode about 500 yards above and behind it. I'll take care of that. There he is.
He's in the clear.
But there's another plane up there.
Yeah, but he's got no business being there.
Fire that gun before Tonjes' plane crashes.
Go ahead and shoot.
fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty "Hi-yo, Silver," the Lone Ranger. In the early days of the western United States, bands of outlaws roamed the plains. The isolated ranches were at the mercy of their sudden raids, and it was not until the masked rider of the plains started his great fight for justice that the new country became safe for honest men and women. It was the Lone Ranger's strength and courage, his daring and resourcefulness, that brought law and order to the lawless frontier and finally made possible the winning of the West. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver! We're heading for the Panhandle! Hi-yo, Silver!
The sun was dropping behind the western Sawtooth Mountains as the Lone Ranger headed Silver along the trail that led to Don Rivera's ranch in a lonely section of the Panhandle. Tonto, his faithful Indian companion, rode beside him and...
Don Rivera should have been seen in town long before this, Tonto. More'n 2 moons gone by.
2 whole months, Kimasabi. Don Rivera's a strange man, perhaps a little peculiar, but he never fails to get to Prairie Bend, even though it's more than 50 miles.
Plenty long distance way.
He lives alone with his daughter. Perhaps he's sick.
He got Indian medicine. Fix him good.
I hope that's all it is.
Huh?
I have a feeling, Tonto. A feeling that trouble lies ahead.
It's strange country. Plenty bad sometime.
We'll soon see. There's Don Rivera's hacienda up ahead. Tonto.
That's strange.
A fence. That fence wasn't here before.
That's right.
Just open country. Now a fence around the rancho. Well, no matter. Come on, Silver.
What you do?
No need to let a fence stop us. We'll jump it.
Jump? Get plenty high.
Silver can make it, so can Scout. A rifle shot.
That's far enough further, mister.
The man behind pants.
Sit still, Kimasabi. What's the idea of the warning, stranger?
That's it. Keep your hands idle and your fingers off the trigger. Far off.
Who are you?
Never mind me. I see your mask.
Well?
Nothing. Don't matter a maverick's side to me if you're masked or wearing cactus needles for whiskers. Just you and the engine make tracks.
Tonto and I are friends of Don Rivera.
Never heard of him.
This is his rancho.
Yeah? Mister, I'm telling you plain, vamoose.
We came to see the Don, and we're going to.
You got the wrong ranch, mister.
You say so?
Yeah, I say so. Me and this here rifle both say so. You savvy what I mean?
And suppose we choose to ignore you and the rifle. Suppose Tonto and I jump that fence and ride right on.
Mister, first off, you wouldn't jump no fence because you'll be drilled with bullets. Second place, even if you did get by me, which you might on account of you look like an hombre who's lightning fast on the draw, well, even if you did get by me, you'd wish you hadn't.
Trouble, huh?
A heap of trouble, even for a masked man. I'm telling you straight, mister, you and the engine both. There's some had gumption enough to go into that ranch house, but there ain't none that ever come out. Now...
What, Pat?
The signal, Tonto.
Adios, mister. I got no time for powwow.
That calls for you?
I said adios. Don't go prying into what ain't your business.
And if it's Don Rivera's business?
Mister, I said there ain't no Don Rivera here. Now, don't ask too many questions, Savvy. I gotta get moving and... Adios. Don't try to get past this fence. You'll bite up more trouble than you can chaw.
Well, Tonto?
Sun drop behind the mountain now. Rancho looks strange. Maybe better we go, huh?
Yes, Tonto. It's getting dark. Soon it'll be black as pitch. Then we...
That sound like spirit. Makes shivers along Tonto's back.
That's no spirit, Kimasabi. That's a man calling.
Maybe so.
Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout. We go away, huh?
Yes, Tonto. But we're not going far. Late at night, we're going over that fence. And that is Don Rivera's rancho, no matter what that man with the rifle said. We'll be back later when it's dark. It was the dark of the moon. The faint glow of starlight could not penetrate the blackness of the night. Like a gray ghost in his shadow, the great horse Silver and Scout moved toward the fence. Then came a low command. Jump, Silver, over the fence.
Get him up, Scout.
Silver!
We inside now.
Ahead, Kimasabi, to the rancho. Keep your hand on your guns.
No light from house.
No, it's all dark, every window. But we're going inside the rancho, Tonto. Follow me quietly. The two horses and their riders slipped across the open stretch between the fence and the dark house, their only protection in the darkness of the night, until, finally... Dismount, Tonto. Follow me.
We go in house, huh?
Stay there, Silver, old boy. We'll be back.
You have gun ready.
Not a sign of anything stirring, Tonto.
Where? Door?
It's dark, but we'll do without a light. Here we are.
It's dark inside, too.
This must be the hall of the rancho, Tonto.
Plenty big.
Follow me. Our footsteps echo, but never mind that.
Hear that?
Yes. Quiet. There it is again. Over this way.
It's wall.
That noise is coming from behind this wall, Kimasabi. And there's no door here.
Sound like spirits rattling chains.
No, Tonto, it's not a ghost. It's gone.
Don Rivera! Oh, you shout.
No sense in keeping silent any longer, Tonto. If anyone is here, they already know we're inside. Or they'd learn it anyway.
Don Rivera! Him not answer.
We'll need a light. We can't go on.
What's that?
Here it is. There's a table in this hole. Here's a candle. Strike a light. Yeah, that's it. The candle lighted.
Now we can see.
There are the stairs. We'll start up above on the second floor first.
Don Rivera! Maybe him gone.
He can't be. We'll... Tonto, stop. Hear that?
It's girl crying.
Put out that candle. She's coming this way.
Father, nephew, where are you?
She's coming down the stairs.
Father, please, where are you? Oh.
Now, don't be frightened.
Murdoch, you are Murdoch.
No, I'm not Murdoch. I'm your father's friend, Diosa.
My father's... Your voice, it sounds familiar.
Tonto, light that candle again.
You came Tonto, then you must be...
Yeah, here. Candle.
Mask, you're the Lone Ranger and Tonto.
Take it easy, Diosa. Where's your father?
I can't say.
What's wrong? Who's the man who stopped us at the fence?
Please, I...
You mentioned the name Murdoch. Who is Murdoch?
Oh, Senor, you have helped us so many times in the past, but this time I do not know if you can...
Girl, plenty scared.
Diosa, you can trust us. What is it?
But Yes, Senor. Perhaps you can save my father from Murdoch. Father have much money hidden away. This Murdoch is...
Oh.
There it is again.
Never mind that, Diosa. Tell us. Go on.
No, I cannot. You will kill Father.
That noise. Where's it coming from? Who's doing it?
There are many rooms hidden away in this rancho, Senor. Many hidden rooms. You can search all night and not find out.
What?
Many hidden rooms. Their eyes watching all the time.
Murdoch, huh?
Please go.
I'm sorry, Diosa, but we're going to find your father. We're going to locate that noise if it takes us all night. Come on, Tonto. We're going to help whether she wants us to or not.
Once again, senor, I will show you how the old Spanish of Mexico deal with the rapier.
Well, it's good to understand.
Very well.
It's a better way.
With the rapier, Murdoch, you are not good.
Maybe so, Don. When I was in the army, I was pretty handy with a saber.
Ah, the saber, a weapon for pigs. It is not light and delicate like the rapier.
Yeah. One slide from a saber, and that needle of yours would be cut right into half. Me, I use these anyway.
Guns.
Sure. What's wrong with guns? Why, in the army...
Guns are also no weapon for a gentleman. But tell me, you said nothing before about being in the army.
I was in the cavalry until I got cashiered out in it.
Cashiered? Does that not mean discharged, dishonorably discharged?
Skip it.
What I would...
I said skip it, Savvy.
So, if you wish, Senor Murdoch, you are a queer one sometimes.
Look who's talking. You're plenty local yourself. All that talk you make about the gold you got.
I have said so.
Yeah, where is it? Supposing I don't believe you.
Senor Murdoch, I am Don Rivera. My word is always believed. If you
Take your hand off that rapier, Rivera.
You apologize. But now we have been down here in the hidden dungeons of my rancho for very long. Come with me.
Wait a minute, don't breathe.
You hold my arm.
You ain't going nowhere. Not till I get that gold.
Huh? Senor Murdoch, you make joke, eh?
Listen, you old whiskered idiot. I want that gold.
It does not sound like joke.
Doggone right it ain't. Not no more.
I do not understand.
Maybe you'll understand this.
A gun? You point your gun at me?
Yeah. Now get this, Rivera. Me and Slim come out here to get your gold, Savvy. We played up to you and babied you all along. Played you for a local hoot owl.
And the oath of my daughter, she was right.
Yeah. She seen through us. She gave you warning.
I would not listen. Never occurred to me that men could be so...
Yes, it. So crooked. All right, Rivera. Now the cards are on the table.
You will never get my gold. That is for the oath.
We're getting it if we have to take
I
it.
I go up to the house. I will send the order for men
to... one step on this trigger pull.
You would not show.
No,
Murdoch. I may be an old fool of a man, but you will not shoot. Because then you will never learn what is the gold.
Pretty smart, ain't you? Well,
Murdoch.
Slim, I told you to keep watch up above.
Somebody in the ranch house.
Sure, the girl.
Murdoch, there's a masked man and an Indian.
What? I thought you sent them hightailing this afternoon.
And then they come back. They're inside. I've seen them. Murdoch, they're looking for the way to get into these underground dungeons.
Masked man, a redskin.
Hold on to Rivera, Slim. I'll take care of them.
No, don't be loco, Murdoch.
Hey.
Look at Don Rivera grinning. These are two hombres you can't shoot down. They get you first.
You mean that
Rivera knows who they are, and so do I. I heard the masked gent trying to get the girl to tell him how to get down here. The only reason she didn't is on account of she's scared what'll happen to her old man.
What are you trying to tell me? That hombre can't be a sheriff, not with a mask.
Murdoch, it's a Lone Ranger.
The Lone?
Yeah, the Lone Ranger. His engine Parchano.
Bring Rivera.
Come on, you. Where are we heading, Murdoch?
We ain't staying here. Rivera, you get a mutton cabin up in the Sawtooth Range, ain't you?
I do not talk to bandits.
Never mind, I know you get one. Slim, the horse is ready to travel.
Yeah, Murdoch. Right outside the entrance to this underground hideaway.
Then get moving. We're making tracks, and we're taking this hombre with us. We gotta move before that masked hombre picks up the trail.
Senor, it is useless to search for the entrance. I do not tell you because I fear for my father.
Then we'll find it ourselves.
You must have it. Over here.
What is it, Tonto? Listen. Horses. Quick, Tonto, outside, around the rancho.
Wait!
It's Rivera.
No, Tonto, save your fire. Here's Silver.
Here's Count.
It's dark, Kimasabi. Our only chance is to go after them. Yep. Come on, Silver.
No, wait, please.
Leo say it's Murdoch. It must be. He has your father.
Please, Murdoch is bad. Sooner than allow himself to be captured, he will shoot my father. He will shoot my father.
That's right. Maybe better we not go, huh?
Leosa, you've got to trust me. I promise your father will be safe.
You promise? Very well, then, senor. Go. Go at once.
Come on, Silver. After them.
Get him up, Scout.
Hello, Silver. Away!
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Murdoch and Slim learned that the Lone Ranger and Tonto were inside the ranch. Rather than face a fight, the bad men hit the trail with the rancher, heading for the Sawtooth Mountains. Along the trail behind them came Silver and Scout.
It's getting lighter now, Kimasabi.
Yes, Tonto. Can you make them out yet?
Not yet.
Any second. The sky's getting lighter and... There, up ahead.
3 horse.
Murdoch and his partner, and Don Rivera. Now faster. Come on, Silver.
Them hear us. Look out.
Never mind the shots, Tonto. We make a poor target at this speed.
We get closer now.
Don Rivera's not hurt.
You reach for gun.
I'm firing over the head, Kimasabi.
The masked man, he's shooting.
Hold your fire, mister. We're stopping.
Them stop.
Yes.
Lock your horses, mister. I'm not going to talk to you.
He's holding a gun against Don Rivera, Tonto. We'll stop.
Oh, Scout. Oh.
That's plenty close enough, mister. Just stay right there.
Well, Murdoch, talk fast. We want Don Rivera.
I'm giving you some advice, masked man. Me and Slim got Rivera, and we ain't let them go.
Tonto shoot gun.
No, Tonto, hold your fire.
Here we are, masked man. Leave your guns and your horses. I'm telling you straight. If you make one move, I pull this trigger. The only way you'll get Rivera is when he's dead, savvy?
Murdoch, you can't get away with this.
We're going on, understand, and you ain't going to stop us.
And we try to, you'll kill Don Rivera?
We sure will. We're heading up into the mountains. We can see the trail all the way back.
You mean business.
We see you and the engine move your horses one step after us. We'll shoot Rivera. Now get that straight.
Very well, Murdoch. Go ahead. We won't follow you.
Yeah, I thought you'd get smart. All right, Slim.
No, senor, do not stop on my account.
Shut him up.
Don't move, Tonto. Go ahead, Murdoch. Get going before we change our minds.
Yeah, this is one time you got licked, huh?
Get up there.
Adios, Smash Man. Remember, don't bother us. Adios.
Them go.
Up into the Sawtooth Mountains.
How soon we go after them, huh?
We can't do it, Tonto. The sun's up now. They'll be watching the back trail as they climb.
What you do?
Now, wheel your horse. We're heading back.
We go back?
Yes, Tonto. Back to the rancho.
But the bad men.
There's
Why
no
we
time
not...
to explain, Kimasabi. It's our only chance. Come on, Silver.
Get him up, Scout.
Faster, old boy. Faster, Silver.
I'll not return. I do not know what to do. My horse is all saddled and ready to go, but I know not what to do. If my father is not rescued, it will be... They come. It is the masked man, the Lone Ranger.
Diosa. Oh, Scout. Oh.
Senor, you come back.
Diosa, we need your help.
My father. You do not bring him with you. Senor, he's not dead.
Your father's all right, Diosa. We came back because Murdoch swore he'd shoot your father if we followed.
Him, that hombre.
There is no help for it. My father must do as Murdoch says.
Is this your horse?
Yes.
Tonto, go inside and get some water and provisions.
Me do it.
Diosa, we're going back into the Sawtooth Mountains. You've got to come with us.
Huh?
You know where Murdoch is taking your father, don't you?
Senor, I...
You're still protecting your father, aren't you?
But of course.
Don't you realize Murdoch's word is no good? He'll promise your father anything to get what he wants, but he won't keep that promise.
My father will be alive.
Only if it suits Murdoch's purpose to keep him alive. Diosa, I'm your friend. Tonto's your friend.
Say that I'm sure of. You are the most wonderful
Then
friend.
you must trust me. You must do as we ask.
Perhaps I... Oh, Senor Mascon, I do not know what to do. All I can think about is my father.
Me got water. Food. Here, Scout.
Good. Give me that saddlebag, Kimasabi.
It's got food in it.
I'll carry that. Now, Diosa.
Senor, I only want to save my father.
Here's your horse. You must come.
Very well, Senor. I will go with you to the Sawtooth Mountain. As you say, I do know where Murdoch has taken my father, but...
But you're still not certain it will help him to lead us there. Is that it?
That is right, Senor. It is a long way to the mountain. Perhaps after I've had time to think about it, I shall tell you. And perhaps not.
It get dark, Kimasabi.
We'll keep going, Tonto. Can you still see the trail?
No. No trail.
We'll keep going. Later on, we'll make a night camp if we have to.
We come into the trees now, Senor.
We'll ride single file, Diosa. Tonto, you go ahead. Lead the way.
Tonto, do it. Get him up, Scout.
Diosa.
See?
All the way up here, you've spoken hardly a word.
I have been thinking.
About your father?
Senor, next to my father, you're the one I would trust most.
Where are they taking him?
There is a cabin up here in the mountain. My father used it years ago for hunting.
Don Rivera has a cabin?
See, but...
Yes?
I could go there myself.
Well, what could a girl do alone against those two?
Oh, it would be safer for my father, senor, please. I know you are a fine man, but if they're shooting, my father's...
Now, this is something you must decide for yourself, Diosa. I can't convince you.
Sure, I have decided.
You'll tell us?
You will learn, senor. Please now, go ahead in single file. Let me come in back. I must make very sure of what I do.
Very well. We'll have to make camp soon anyway. Up, Silver.
You will learn soon, senor. Very soon.
Kimasabi.
Not yet, Tonto.
She prayed for her father.
You heard Murdoch this morning.
Uh-huh.
He wouldn't hesitate to shoot Don Rivera. But if we knew where his cabin is, we could make certain no shots were fired.
Maybe ambush.
In the darkness, we can't be seen, Tonto. We've surprised better plainsmen than Murdoch before.
Where, girl?
She's riding in back of us.
Huh? Well, maybe she get away.
Well, you think I should have had a ride between Silver and Scout, huh?
That's right.
No, Kimasabi, that wasn't necessary. Steady, Silver.
Silver, him stubborn in dark. Maybe so we make camp now, huh?
Very well. It is dark. Rain up. What's the matter, Tonto?
You say girl riding back, but no girl here. She gone.
So, this is my father's cabin. They must be within there.
Howdy, Diosa. Come to see your pa, huh? All right, get inside. Was her all right, Murdoch?
Dios, my God.
Father! Oh, Father, you all right?
Oh, my Dios.
She come alone, Slim?
Yeah, all by her lonesome. Nobody trailing her.
You know, reckon she figured the master and the engine would do her old man more harm than good.
Yeah, Murdoch.
Keep watch just in case. I'll settle this once and for all. All right, you two. You can stop all that stuff. And you, Diosa, where's the masked man?
I come alone.
Good. Then you better persuade your old man to sign the paper on that table.
No, I will not. Dios, it is to give them the Rivera gold.
You'll sign or you'll die.
No. It is yours, Dios.
Father, please, Father, do as he says. All I care about is you, not the gold.
But what?
I am your daughter. I love you. They will set you free if you sign. That is all I wish for.
But this paper. Say that when I die, the money goes to them. Tomorrow thou can slay me. Bueno, Dios. So long as you do not wish the money.
No, I do.
Oh, very well, Murdoch. I will sign.
There's pretty ink right beside you, Rivera. Yeah, that does it. We got it, Slim.
Money.
Yeah. And now, Rivera.
A gun. What you do?
This paper says we get the money after Rivera dies, Savvy. So I'm going to make sure he dies right now.
But you promised. You said...
Enough, Dios. I have been a fool. Stand aside.
Yeah, get out of the way so I can draw a better bead on it.
Stand aside.
Murdoch, he's got a sword.
Yes, and I salute it.
Well, help you. You almost got me with that rapier, didn't you?
My fight is my ancestors did. Even such a snake as you, Murdoch.
I could put a bullet through you so fast.
Hey, a coward like this skulking coyote on the desert.
So you want to get it your way, huh? All right, I reckon I'll holster my guns and use that saber on the wall.
A saber against the rapier, no.
Give me that saber, Slim.
Yeah. Here you are.
Yeah. Now, Don Rivera, tell your little daughter to step back. What are you swords, huh? I'll cut you to ribbons.
Father, no.
Yes, Dios, if I'm to die, it is better this way. Get back. Now, senor, on guard.
Yeah. Keep watching, Slim. This is going to be good.
It's all right, Tonto. I'll let Diosa ride behind us. I heard her leave the trail.
You do that on purpose?
She headed for that cabin.
Oh, but where cabin?
Put the torch here, closer. There, see that broken twig?
This right path.
Now, we'll not lose it until...
Oh.
Stop the horses. Listen.
Kimasabi, that's pierced with chain.
No, Tonto, not chains. Those are swords. Don Rivera has a rapier.
Sword?
Yes, that's the cabin. Head for it. Come on, Silver. We've got to get there in time.
Get him up, Scout.
Hello, Silver. Away! Drop that sword, Murdoch. What the masked man out?
Oh!
The next time you try to shoot, I won't aim at your hand, Slim.
Oh, senor, already you've arrived. You've come in time.
Oh, senor, my thanks. This hombre, he make me sign paper.
Yes, I see. Well, this takes care of the paper. And as for you, Murdoch...
No, wait. You got the draw on me, mister.
Very well. My gun goes back in its holster. Go ahead, Murdoch. I'll let you draw first. Go ahead, draw.
Oh, I won't shoot at that, not with you.
Yet you were willing to use a saber against this rapier.
Yes, that he was ready to do. He knew a saber could break the rapier in half.
A coward and a bully, Murdoch, and I'm going to prove it. Pick up that saber. Pick it up. You wanted swords instead of guns. I'm giving you that chance. Pick it up.
You mean you'll fight a duel with a rapier against my saber? Sure, I'll pick it up.
Senor, no, do not duel with him. He's an expert.
Don't worry. Tonto, make sure Slim doesn't interfere. You get back. Stay back.
Sure, Injun, just like you say.
Now, Murdoch, come ahead.
Senor, he will kill you.
Yeah, come on.
Throw, Murdoch. You missed me.
Yeah, well, this time
Senor, look out. His saber has broken the rapier in half.
Now I got you, masked man. You got only half a blade, and I got a saber. Blast you, stand still.
Try again, Murdoch.
You're quick as a catamount. Take that.
I will, Murdoch.
What the...
Senor, bravo. You have disarmed him. You have pulled the saber from his hands.
Well, Murdoch, do you still want a duel? Pick up the saber.
No, I give up. You got me.
That's plenty good, Kemosabe. Put out your hands, Murdoch. I have Slim Tonto. Me do it.
We are going back down the mountain?
Yes, Diosa. All right, Murdoch, Slim. Get moving. Pronto. On your horses.
All right, I'm getting...
We take them to jail, huh? Yes, Tonto. To jail where they belong. All right, Silver. Lead the way.
Dios. We give thanks to the masked man, eh? But for him, I would be dead.
While we go down the trail. Yes, there's no one like the masked man in all the West. No one.
I'll Silver, away!
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper. The discovery that Walter Huffman, dealer in precious gems, had disappeared led Clark Kent to believe that Huffman was responsible for the brutal murder of Dr. Chi Wan, Oriental scholar and art dealer, and, too, that Huffman had in his possession the dragon's teeth, 10 pieces of pure jade that hold the secret of everlasting life. Investigation proved Kent was right. Huffman and Hu Ling, a former Chinese employee of Dr. Wan's, are even now en route by transport plane to California, there to board a China-bound boat. As our story continues today, Kent and Lois Lane, star girl reporter, are following in the next plane. Listen.
According to this timetable, we'll land at San Francisco about midnight. Huffman only has a 2-hour start on us.
Well, that may be more than enough, if he can catch a boat.
Well, you checked on that before we left, didn't you?
Yes, there's a freighter sailing from San Francisco at midnight. I wish you hadn't insisted on coming along, Lois. I could have handled this much better alone.
Well, the miracle man.
No, I didn't mean it that way, Lois.
Well, how did you mean it? Now, don't tell me you could have gotten to San Francisco faster than this plane is taking us. Well, maybe you can fly. I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
Well, now you're being silly.
Oh, no, not at all. You do everything so well, it isn't beyond the realm of possibility to believe that you can float through the air with the greatest of ease.
Oh, let it go. We've got a long trip ahead of us, so just relax.
Where are we now, Clark?
Passing over the Mississippi. We're 20 minutes behind schedule. Well, looks like bad weather ahead.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. See those dark patches ahead of us? Storm clouds.
Here comes one of the pilots. Ask him.
Oh, sure. We're running into bad weather, aren't we?
Oh, nothing serious.
Gee, I hope not.
Don't worry, miss.
Don't worry, huh?
Well, there really isn't much to worry about. These big ships are safe enough.
You know, I was thinking that unless we can prove Walter Huffman had something to do with Chi-Wan's murder, well, we're just wasting time and money making this trip.
Oh, what about the dragon's teeth? The 10 pieces of jade?
That, I think, is a fairy tale. Do you believe it?
Believe what?
That the dragon's teeth are endowed with magic properties.
Well, nobody said they were. According to Dr. Wan, each of them is engraved with a Chinese symbol that identifies a medicinal herb found in the mountains of West China.
I know. And when the 10 herbs are ground into a powder, that powder will render the human body free of disease forever. Aye, that'll put an awful lot of doctors out of business.
Well, there may be more to it than you think, Lois. The Chinese, in some respects, are remarkable people. After all, they did discover gunpowder centuries ago. This may be another remarkable discovery that has remained a secret for thousands of years.
Well, I'm from Missouri. You gotta show me. Oh, what happened?
We hit an air pocket. Getting a little rough. Better fasten your safety belt.
Okay. There now. Say, what happened? Did we run into a storm? Did they land?
No, they usually ride it out by flying above it. They're gaining altitude now. You're not frightened, are you?
Oh, no, but I don't like it too much. Gee, my ears are beginning to ache.
Try and yawn. That usually helps. Oh, here. Chew this piece of gum.
Oh, thanks. Oh!
Yeah, another pocket.
Well, what makes the plane drop like that?
Well, it's like being on a boat in a rough sea. You ride up to the crest of a wave and then drop down into the trough. Instead of sea waves, we're running into air waves. That's about the size of it. Is your belt fastened?
Yeah.
Well, we'll probably find good weather further up. They usually do.
Clark, we're turning over.
No, we're not. Just pitching and tossing a little.
Well, I'd feel better if there were more passengers on board, you know it.
Well, just 2 men up front. Really, Lois, there's really... Oh, that was a bad one. I thought I heard something fall. Yes, I did. The stewardess. She struck her head on a chair arm in the rear of the plane. I'll be right back, Lois.
Don't leave me, please, Clark. I'm frightened.
Now, just sit tight. Nothing can happen.
Well, hurry back, will you?
Oh, this stewardess got a nasty crack. Hot coals. I'll just sit her up in a chair. Yeah, that's better. Probably just stunned. Hey, but those motors, they're missing badly. I'm beginning not to like this. Those motors conk out on it, we'll crack up. Maybe I'd better take a hand as Superman. First, out with the lights. Where's that switch? Now, here it is.
Where are you?
Right here, Lois. Be right with you.
Now, the only emergency exit is in the pilot's room up in the nose of the ship. But the door's locked. I could crash through it, but... No, wait. Stewardess has the key. Ah, here it is, right here in her pocket. Boy, those motors won't hold out much longer. We're losing altitude fast. No time to wait. Hope Lois doesn't see me as I pass her seat. Well, here goes. Made it without being seen. Now to slip the key into the door. There we are.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
Never mind that now. This ship's in trouble.
You get back where you belong. Hey, Joe, get that guy out of here.
Okay. Sorry I have to do this,
buddy,
mister.
Oh!
And now you, Captain.
You get away from me or I'll kill you.
Put that gun down. Put it down, I said.
I warned you. Quick shot. That bullet. It just bounced off your chest.
There isn't time to explain that now. Sweet dreams, Captain. Uh-oh. Let us spin. I hope I haven't waited too long. The altimeter. Only 7,000 feet. There's only one thing to do. Get out of this plane and carry it down.
You're all right, Lois. Here, drink some water.
Oh, what happened?
Nothing at all. You just fainted.
The plane. It was falling, twisting. And then Everything went black.
Yes, but the pilot managed to land in an open field.
Well, where are we now?
In a hotel 5 miles from where the plane came down. Now, look, Lois, I've got to go on, and well, I don't think you're in any condition to travel. Certainly not by plane.
But there's a storm. The plane can't be flying.
Well, I've arranged for a private ship.
You can't fly in weather like this. It's suicide.
Well, the pilot of this plane is an ex-Army aviator. He'll get through. Now, you'd better spend the night here and then take a train back east in the morning.
All right, if you insist.
I think it's best. Tell Mr. White I'll call him the moment something breaks. So long.
Bye. And good luck.
Thanks, Lois.
As he stepped from the elevator on the main floor of the hotel, Clark Kent walked quickly through the lobby, confident that now he could be waiting at San Francisco when Huffman arrived. But unknown to him, 2 bright, beady eyes followed him. The eyes of Walter Huffman. Suddenly, the duelist speaks to the sallow-skinned Oriental at his side.
Cooling. Did you see that man who just passed through the lobby?
Yes, Huffman.
I may be wrong, but he looked very much like that newspaper reporter who came to see me. Kent, I think his name was. Remember I told you about him?
Yes, I remember. Was that not why we left so quickly, because of him?
Exactly, Huling. I thought they were suspicious, those newspaper people.
How did he find out we were here at this hotel?
That's what bothers me. He couldn't possibly know I decided to stop off here for a few days in case we were being followed.
It's strange. Very strange. Maybe you are mistaken.
Possibly. I'll see. You wait here. I beg your pardon, but is Mr. Kent registered?
Mr. Kent, I'll see. No, sir, we have no Mr. Kent.
A newspaper reporter from the East?
No, I'm sorry. Oh, did you say newspaper reporter?
Yes, from the Daily Planet.
Well, now, we have a young lady reporter registered, Miss Lois Lane. She was a passenger on that plane that made a forced landing. And now that you speak of it, sir, there was a gentleman with her. And I think his name was Kent, but he didn't register.
What room is Miss Lane in?
Miss Lane is in 507.
Thank you.
Very well.
I was right, Oling. It was Kent.
What do we do now?
He's not registered, but another reporter is, a young lady. Follow me.
Yes,
Fifth floor, please.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Now listen closely. The girl, her name is Lois Lane, is in room 507. I must find out what she and Kent are doing here. I will pretend I'm a friend of Kent's. You remain here in the hall. If he returns before I'm through, lead him away on some pretext. You understand?
I understand. Perfect.
Good. I won't be long.
Who's there?
Miss Lane? A friend of Mr. Kent.
Just a moment.
How do you do, Miss Lane? My name is Smith.
Yes?
I met Mr. Kent in the lobby. He's an old friend of mine.
Well, won't you come in?
Thank you. Mr. Kent said you had a rather frightening experience. Your plane was forced down?
Yes, it was terrible. I don't suppose I'm much of an air traveler.
How long do you and Mr. Kent expect to stay here?
Well, Clark's left already. He's on his way to the coast. I'm returning east by train tomorrow.
Oh, Mr. Kent is on his way to the coast. Business, perhaps?
Yes. Did you say your name was Schmidt?
Edward Schmidt.
Well, if your name's Schmidt, what are the initials WH doing on that handkerchief in your breast pocket?
I
know who you are. You're Walter Huffman. Operator. Operator.
Put down that phone.
Operator. Oh.
Now, pick your phone up. Replace the receiver on the hook.
What do you want?
Answer it. It was a mistake. Answer it. Do you hear me?
Never mind, operator. It was a mistake.
With Superman 1,000 miles away, what will Lois Lane do? Can she alone outwit Huffman and Huling? Don't forget to tune in next time for another thrilling episode in this strange Oriental drama.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
It's 8:30.
It's 8:30, New York time. Time to wake up America and stump the experts. Each week at this time, Lucky Strike sets up a quiz quartet that knows, well, not all, but most of the answers. For every question we use, Lucky Strike pays out $10 plus a copy of the new Information Please quiz book. If your question stumps us, you get $25 more, plus a 24-volume set of the current Encyclopedia Britannica. Send your questions to Information Please, 480 Lexington Avenue, New York City. If our editorial staff edits your questions a bit, don't fret over it. In case of duplication, Information Please uses the question that was received first, and all questions become the property of Information Please. And now light up a Lucky Strike as I present our Master of Ceremonies, the literary critic of the New Yorker magazine, Clifton Fadiman. Mr. Fadiman.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Information Please is a completely unrehearsed, spontaneous, and ad-lib program. We welcome back tonight, with much hey-ho, our wandering expert, Oscar Levant, fresh from recent triumphs in Hollywood. And the other two members of the trio are, of course, on hand, the eminent maestro of sports and what have you, Mr. John Kieran, and the equally eminent and lyrical conductor of the New York Post's conning tower, Mr. Franklin P. Adams. And by the way, a book of nature notes by John Kieran, titled John Kieran's Nature Notes, is out today, and you may run, not walk, to your nearest bookstore. That all right, John?
That's fine.
Okay. Now, our guest tonight is the world-famous sculptor and raconteur, Mr. Joe Davidson, who happens, by the way, to be the fourth bearded marvel that we have had on this program. Can any of you gentlemen name the other three, by the way? Mr. Levant.
Monty Woolley.
Monty Woolley was one. Mr. Kieran.
Rex Stout.
And Mr.
Christopher
Davidson.
Morley and Chris Kringle.
Chris Kringle. We never had Chris Kringle on this program.
Yes, we did. We were on Christmas night once.
I don't remember. You must have been seeing double.
He was here in spirit.
Remember, listeners, for each question that we miss, Lucky Strike rings up $25. And that's paid out to the sender, plus 24 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. So much for introduction. Now, we'll start the program this evening with a question coming to us from Dora Harkins of Providence, Rhode Island. Can you give 4 popular bits of advice in which the use of some part of the body is mentioned? For example, keep your nose to the grindstone. Mr. Adams.
Keep your shirt on.
Keep your shirt on is a very good one. Mr. Levant.
Keep your nose clean.
Keep your nose clean is a very good one, Mr. Levant. Mr. Adams again.
Pull down your vest.
Pull down your vest. What does that mean exactly?
Doesn't mean anything. It's
Must
an
mean
old
something.
expression, means be careful.
I think that's what it means, yes. Mr. Kieran?
Don't carry a chip on your shoulder.
Don't carry a chip on your shoulder is a very good one. That gives us 4, and one could think of others. Chin up, shoulder to the wheel, don't stick your neck out, toe the mark, and so forth.
And who wears the pants?
Who wears the pants? Well, that was just to start us off. The next one is a little more difficult. It comes from S.G. Pratt of New York City, and I think it is particularly directed at Mr. Davidson. But the rest of you boys can come in on this. What sculptor, there are 3 questions, get 2 out of 3. What sculptor created a statue that embarrassed the mayor of a large city? Mr. Davidson.
McMoney's civic virtue.
That's right. What was the matter with that statue, Mr. Davidson?
Some didn't like it.
And which mayor did it embarrass?
Highland, I believe?
Yes, Highland. That was quite some time ago, in 1919. I don't know who called the statue atrocious art, but somebody did. Possibly Mr. Highland himself, who doubling as an art critic at the time. What's happened to civic virtue since then, Mr. Davidson?
I believe it has been removed.
And no one can see it now?
Oh, yes.
You can? Where is it?
I believe it's going to some museum.
It's going to Brooklyn.
Civic virtue in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Why should it be localized in just one borough?
I don't know. The transportation charges are $28,000.
Things you know, Mr. Adams. Well, that's correct.
You're going to pay it out of your own pocket, Frank?
Now, which sculptor, gentlemen, was prosecuted because he did not give a statue its due amount of gold? I imagine that Mr. Davidson.
Phidias, I believe.
Yes, Phidias. That was in how long ago, and when was it?
Oh, age of Pericles, I believe.
Yes, far, far back in the age of the classic Greek times. He was accused of embezzling some gold that was provided for the statue. What statue was that? Do you know, Mr. Davidson?
I believe it was a bas-relief, which is now in the British Museum.
And whom did it represent?
It represented, I believe he had a head of Pericles on that.
I think it was Athena.
Yes, but he went to jail for having carved a portrait of Pericles on it, which was considered not done.
I see. All right, good. Now, what is the answer to the third one? What sculptor's work was rescued from a warehouse by the pennies of the children of New York? Mr. Adams.
The Bartholdi statue, or better known as the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, that's right. It lay in a warehouse and needed a pedestal before it could be set up, and the children of the city contributed their pennies, and it was set up.
To the offices, I believe, of the New York World.
How long ago was that, Mr. Adams?
I think it was around the 80s.
As long ago as that. Well, that gives us 3 out of 3 on sculpture. The next one is from R.C. Angel of Buffalo. Get 2 out of 3. In what movie or play is there a quotation from the following? First, from Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. In what movie or play is that used? Mr. Levant.
Charles Ruggles. In, it isn't Charles Ruggles.
No, it's Charles
Lawton.
Charles Lawton, yeah.
Of Ruggles of Lawton Gap, Red Gap.
Yes, in Ruggles of Red Gap, that's right. Recited the whole address, did he not?
Yeah.
And very movingly, that's quite right. Now, in what movie or play is there a quotation from the balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet? Mr. Levant again.
That was Hepburn in her first picture. Second picture.
Yes, that's
Morning
right.
Glory.
Morning Glory. Very good. That gives you 2 out of 2, Mr. Levant. Now, in what movie or play is there in this case, a musical quotation, which I shall ask you not to sing or hum, if you don't mind, from Stars and Stripes Forever? Where was that used? Mr. Kieran.
I think in Arsenic and Old Lace, isn't it?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Why would it be in there?
I don't think it is.
Isn't it used with the bugle?
I don't believe so, Mr. Kieran. No, it was used where?
Well, I used it as an exit march in protest in a play. It was kind of to help things along at the final curtain.
What play?
But it wasn't a part of the play.
No.
And Kaufman would be angry if I said it was in that show.
Oh, we mustn't get him angry.
American Way.
The one I was thinking of was Of Thee I Sing. I think it's used as a march in Of Thee I Sing. Remember that now, Mr.
In Wintergreen, which
right.
I won't sing.
That gives us 1 wrong, but that was all we were required to get 2 out of 3, which we did. Now, the next one comes from Dr. H. Shapiro of the Museum of Natural History of this city. Again, get 2 out of 3 if you can. With what group of people is the following dietary peculiarity associated? The first peculiarity is the eating of earth. The eating of earth. Who eats earth? What tribe or group of people? Mr. Davidson? I beg pardon?
Sculptors.
Well, you must be thinking of your early days, Mr. Davidson.
Still at it.
Still at it?
You don't mean the Indians in the Indian stories that bite the dust?
No, wasn't thinking of those. I don't think they use it as a steady diet, Mr. Adams. No, the...
Corpses.
I beg pardon, Mr. Levant?
Corpses.
Corpses?
That's pretty necrophilia.
No, I don't think so. Mr. Kieran, would you care to guess for us?
Parsees.
No, I don't think so.
I give up.
How about some bad lettuce?
Maybe the Parsees do. Certain Persian groups and do, as a matter of fact. The Melanesians and Indians of the South Seas, Javanese, the Dayaks of Borneo, all apparently eat earth. Who eats rotten fish? I think we're way above the sculptor level now, Mr. Davidson.
You mean when you know it or if you don't know it?
No, by preference, Mr. Levant.
Seals.
Yes, I suppose seals do. I was thinking of human groups. The Chinese and the Eskimos apparently both like rotten fish when obtainable. And who eats insects, gentlemen? Insects.
Rats.
Can't you just bring us onto a human level, Mr. Levant?
Well, it's not normal to think of anybody eating insects.
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Kieran.
Well, the tribes in Africa eat locusts.
Yes, I think that would be considered an insect. The Australian Aborigines and the Japanese apparently eat insects, too. That gives us only 1 out of 3 and sends $25, courtesy of Lucky Strike, to Dr. Shapiro, plus a set of the Britannica. Now, the next question comes from Doris Hanson of Hollywood, California. You get 3 out of 4 if you can. What is the present position of these Americans who once held the offices that I'll now read. Now, the first one was a governor, was head of the Social Security Board, and a member of the International Labor Office. What position does he hold now, Mr. Adams?
Ambassador to the Court of St. James's.
That's correct. And the gentleman in question?
John Wynant.
John Wynant. That's quite right. Mr. Levant?
That's right.
That's right. Okay.
Thanks, old fellow.
You boys are working together beautifully tonight. Now, in the next case, the gentleman was a governor. He was a governor general, and he was a cabinet secretary. What position does he hold now? Who is it? Mr. Levant.
Supreme Court Judge Murphy.
That's
Frank Murphy.
quite correct, yes. When he was in the cabinet, he held what position?
The one that Jackson has now.
Attorney General, I think it was. And when he was Governor General, he was Governor General of what?
The Philippines.
Of the Philippines.
Everybody seems to have been Governor General.
Here's another. He was an editor and a cabinet member. What is he now? And who is he? An editor and then a cabinet member. Mr. Kieran.
Ambassador to Mexico.
Who would that be?
The Secretary of the Navy.
Daniels.
Daniels.
Yeah.
Josephus Daniels is correct, and there's still another answer.
Henry Wallace.
Henry Wallace, yes, was an editor and a cabinet member, of course. Now, the fourth was an admiral, a governor general. What is he now?
Ambassador.
Mr. Davidson?
Ambassador to Vichy.
Ambassador to Vichy, and you're referring to?
Admiral Leahy.
Admiral Leahy, yes. He was Governor General of Puerto Rico. Well, that gives us 4 out of 4, gentlemen. See what you can do with this one. From Mrs. Winifred H. Bennett of Portland, Maine. You're going to try to identify the following sounds by naming the poems from which they're taken. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to be the sound effects man. Is that all right for you, Mr. Adams? Here is the first sound. Get 2 out of 3. Clot, 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 clot. There you have 2 hands. Mr. Kieran.
That is the clot, 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 clot of the horse on which the highwayman rode in Alfred Noy's poem of that name.
Gee, I'm good. That's quite right.
I thought that was Paul Revere's horse.
I can do you Paul Revere's horse, too, Mr. Adams.
Clot, clot again?
It's a little different. Now, here's another one. He tinkledy, bingledy, winkled a bell. He tinkledy, binkledy, winkled a bell. Any ideas? What poem does it come from?
Bells.
Those words?
No, those words, yes, Mr. Kieran. Mr. Adams.
What poem would that be? That might be The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe.
That's what Mr. Levant said. No, I think not. It doesn't sound like a Poe line. It's from The Pobble Who Has No Toes by Edward Lear. And when boats or ships came near him, he tinkledy, binkledy, winkled a bell so that all the world could hear him. You find this a bit childish, Mr. Davidson?
No.
Here's another. Here's another. That was one wrong. Now we have to get the next one right. The next one is a more serious. Twee, tweedledee, tweedledee. Mr. Levant.
Is that Tweedledee, Tweedledum?
Nope.
Well, why did you call on me?
Because the music, the answer involves a knowledge of music.
Well, Tweedledee?
It's from Old King Cole. Every fiddler, he had a fine fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Remember it?
Yeah.
Gives us 2 wrong out of 3, and that makes a lucky strike for Mrs. Bennett and a set of the Britannica. Thank you. Now, Lucky Strike announces so far a loss of $50 and 2 sets of the Britannica. Now, Mr. Cross shows us how to talk turkey about tobacco.
The only way to talk turkey about tobacco, Mr. Fetterman, is to talk facts. And the facts are that Lucky Strike consistently pays higher prices to get the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. Now, smokers, let me give you one example. Here are the season's totals from the important burley tobacco market of Springfield, Kentucky. At auctions in Springfield, the American Tobacco Company paid 30% more per pound for the tobacco it bought for its cigarettes and other tobacco products. Yes, 30% above the average market price paid for all the various types and grades of tobacco sold there. And the best we bought will go to Lucky's. Now, I could quote season's totals from market after market, and they'd all add up to this one fact. Lucky Strike wants and pays for and gets the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder leaf. Have you tried a Lucky lately?
Mr. Cross, you talked turkey in just 54 seconds. And now we'll go on with the second half of the program with a question coming from Anna Lee of this city. Now, there are 3 parts to this question. It's a musical question, and you have to get all 3 parts right. You're going to hear some snatches of classic dance music. What dance does each one represent? Is that clear? Let's have the first. That's all you're going to hear. Mr. Levant?
That's a mazurka.
That is a mazurka. By the way, do you know from what composition those notes were taken?
Not at all.
It's pretty tough. Very little of it was played. Apparently a mazurka by Liszt. And now the second.
Don't you want to know why it's a mazurka?
Yes, I'd love to know why it's a mazurka. Tell us why.
You don't want knowledge, you want answers.
No, I'd love to know why it's a mazurka. What does a mazurka mean?
Well, the accent's on the weaker second beat, characteristically.
And you think I know more now than I did before?
Well, you're not the only one listening in.
What's the national derivation of a mazurka?
It's Polish.
Polish? All right, now shall we listen to the next? Mr. Levant had his hand up at once. I'd like to get a guess from somebody. Mr. Levant?
It's a very famous Bach piece. It's in the partita in B-flat, I think the most famous of Bach. It's not a tune that's going to set your feet dancing. It's a saraband.
It's a saraband, yes. What sort of dance would that be?
The derivation, I think, is Spanish, but very old, and I think has a religious connotation, and I'm not sure, but nobody dances to it.
Well, it's a rather stately, dignified.
It's ornamental, too. It's, yeah.
That's quite right. Very
so
formal.
stately, you don't put your feet down at all.
Good enough. That gives us 2 out of 2. And now we'll have the third of these dance forms. I think that's perhaps the easiest of them, wouldn't you say, Mr. Levant?
Yeah, Mr. Adams or Mr. Cairn ought to get that.
I inclined to think that...
It's a waltz.
It's a waltz, yes.
It's played a little fast.
It's a plain, ordinary waltz. That gives us 3 out of 3. Thank you very much. Now, here's another one from...
You want to know the character of a waltz?
I would. I'd love to know the character.
I'm kidding.
Only you've got to explain it in such a way that I can understand.
Well, a waltz is something you dance when you can't dance anything else.
That makes it all clear. This one from Elmer Gustafson of Tulsa, Oklahoma, is about poetry. Get 2 out of 3 if you can. Give the well-known lines, at least it says here that they're well-known, that immediately precede the lines that I'm now going to quote. 1. And gather honey all the day from every opening flower. Mr. Kieran.
How doth the busy little bee improve the shining hour?
Each shining hour.
Each shining hour, as Mr. Adams says. I think there's one tiny error in the first line. How doth the little busy bee?
That's what I said.
You said busy little bee. I'll play the record back sometime. That's good enough, Mr. Kieran. And who wrote it?
Isaac Watts.
Isaac Watts. You don't know what number that song was in his collected works?
No, he wrote a great many.
Who would? Number 20. Here's another. And tediousness, the limbs and outward flourishes. I will be brief. What's the line that comes before that? That's not easy. Mr. Kieran.
I think that is Polonius, isn't it?
You bet it is. That's right, Mr. Kieran.
Since brevity is the soul of wit.
That's exactly right, Mr. Kieran. That's pretty good, picking that out. I think most of us would know the phrase, since brevity is the soul of wit, but we wouldn't be able to go on with it and know the next 2 lines as Mr. Kieran did. Here's the third, and I think the hardest of them. Thou art not my friend, and I'm not thine.
Take it easy.
That's a tough one. What's the one that comes before that? Does it strike a responsive chord in the memories of any of you? Well, it comes from a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson called Goodbye, and the line that comes before it is...
Goodbye, proud world.
That's right, Mr. Adams. Goodbye, proud world, I'm going home. Mr. Kieran got it, too, just at the end.
One of the worst poems he wrote.
I know, but we want to give it its chance on this program, along with Shakespeare. That gives us 2 out of 3. The next one from Sylvia Vale of this city. Get 3 out of 4. We recently celebrated Lincoln's birthday, so that this question is still more or less timely. Who made the statue of Lincoln that's in the following places? Who made the one that is in Washington? In Washington, D.C. Mr. Davidson.
Daniel Chester French.
Daniel Chester French, that's right. And who made the Lincoln statue that is now in Lincoln Park, Chicago? Mr. Adams.
Augustus St. Gaudens.
That's quite right. And the one that is on Mount Rushmore. On Mount Rushmore. Mr. Adams?
George Gray Barnard. Gutzon Borglum.
Yes, Gutzon Borglum. You want me to forget that about Mr. Barnard, don't you? Gutzon Borglum is right. It's one of those enormous...
My little chum whispered that to me. It's wrong.
Why, Mr. Davidson.
That's in Dutch.
Mr. Davidson, you know, Mr. Adams is one of the most suggestible of people.
That's what I like about him.
He'll say anything you whisper to him.
Splendid.
Gutzenborglum, of course, one of those great, gigantic heads that are being sculptured out on Mount Rushmore. Now, who made the statue of Lincoln that is in London? Mr. Davidson.
George Gray Barnard. This time,
according to my information,
stick to that, you get it yet.
According to my information, that's not true, Mr. Davidson. The one that's in London is also an Augustus St. Gaudens statue. It's a copy of the Lincoln Park statue.
But there is one of Barnard's.
There is one of Barnard. Where does it stand in London?
That I'm sorry I can't tell you.
Well, I'm positive that you must be right, as well as myself. That gives us 4 out of 4.
Gives us 5 out of 4.
That gives us 5 out of 4. Thank you, Mr. Levant. And sends us on to this one from John E. Olson of Wildwood, New Jersey. Again, get 3 out of 4 if you can. Now, these 4 men were at the top in their respective professions. Who succeeded each one? The first is James Garfield, President James Garfield. Who succeeded him? Mr. Kieran.
Chester A. Arthur.
Chester A. Arthur, yes. Could you give us a date on it?
81.
That's right, Mr. Adams. Mr. Kieran was probably just about to say that. That's fine. Now, who succeeded Robert Bridges as poet laureate? Robert Bridges as poet laureate. Mr. Adams?
John Masefield.
John Masefield in 1930. Now, who succeeded Edward D. White as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? Mr. Levant.
William Howard Taft.
That's quite right, in 1921. And who succeeded Max Schmeling as heavyweight champion? Mr. Kieran?
Do you want it, Oscar?
I'll take the second half. Do his first name.
Jack Sharkey.
Jack Sharkey, yes,
Sharkey.
in 1932. Well, that was a pretty easy one. Here's a harder one. This comes from T.B. Clark of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Get 2 out of 3. This is about music. What music has been described as, quote, iteration of a duple beat against which syncopation is added? What music is that, Mr. Levant?
That's long hair, I think, for jazz.
Yes,
very
long hair for jazz, very
unsuccinctly
good.
put.
Is it a good definition, would you say?
You know it isn't. Does it feel like jazz to you?
No. I could say it.
Say it again.
Iteration of a duple beat against which syncopation is added. No, it still doesn't
You can
sound
tell
like
he can't
jazz.
beat it out.
No, couldn't beat it out. Here's an easier one. Quote, music consisting of an underlying rhythmic ostinato against which the right hand plays a series of improvised melodic fragments.
Well, the melodic is questionable.
You got that, Mr. Levant?
Swing.
No, that's not swing.
No, I don't think it would be.
That's boogie-woogie.
That's
The
boogie-woogie.
ostinato is a recurrent bass. That's the tip-off there.
Bass played with the...
With usually tense in the left hand, rather slow tempo.
Righto. And here, the music consists of a simple harmonic basis supplied by the rhythm section with a solo instrument improvising a superposed melodic line.
Mr. Adams had that before.
Mr. Adams, would you like to answer that?
So wing.
So wing, that's right. That gives us 3 out of 3. And it sure makes that music sound dull, Mr. Levant. Mrs. Thomas J. O'Donnell of Baltimore, Maryland, sends us this. This is a question about odors. Smells to you, Mr. Levant.
Scent to me.
All right. I'm going to read you some descriptive passages. Identify the works from which they come. Quote, a smell like a washing day. That was the cloth. A smell like an eating house and a pastry cook's next door to each other, with a laundress's next door to that. That was the pudding. The quotation is from what work? By whom? Any guesses? Mr. Kieran?
I guess Dickens.
You're right. And can you name the work?
One of his Christmas stories.
Yes, which one?
Oh, Tiny Tim.
Sure, its other name being...
A Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. That's right, Mr. Kieran. Very good. It's the description of the smell of the pudding as it's brought in to the celebrants at the Christmas dinner. Here's another. Quote, they conveyed me into a buck basket.
Oh.
Do you know that already, Mr. Kieran?
Yeah.
I was going to read the rest of it, which gives us the odor, but you tell us what it's from, and then I'll read the rest of the quotation.
Why, that is from The Merry Wives of Windsor. That's the rather oversized Falstaff being describing how he was carried out in a washing basket.
That's right. And all I had to give you was the word buck basket
Well, that's all.
for you to get it. Good enough. It goes on, rammed me in with foul shirts and smock socks, foul stockings, greasy napkins, that there was the rankest compound of villainous smell that ever offended nostril from the Merry Wives of Windsor. Now here is the third of these scents, as Mr. Lefant elegantly reminds us. Quote, while he was thinking what he should say to his father and wringing his hands over the smoking remnants of those untimely sufferers, an odor assailed his nostrils, unlike any scent which he had before experienced.
Tristram Shandy.
No, Mr. Adams, a gallant guess, but a wrong one. Mr. Kieran.
That's a dissertation on roast pig.
A dissertation upon roast pig by whom?
By Charles Lamb.
Yes, that's quite right. That gives us 3 out of 3, with Mr. Adams coming in a little too fast on the last one. Now we have one from Kenneth McGowan, the famous stage and screen producer, now living in Beverly Hills, California. I'm going to give you some words that are generally used in pairs. Distinguish between the words. The first is beer and Skittles. Distinguish between beer and Skittles. We've all heard the phrase beer and Skittles. Mr. Levant.
Well, beer you can get anywhere. Skittles you can only read about.
What is Skittles? What are Skittles?
Well,
Nine pins.
Yes, it's a game like nine pins, Mr. Adams. Mr. Levant, I think, was probably about to say that. Now, how about the pair of words Lares and Penates? Mr. Kieran?
Well, those are the household gods of the ancient Roman days.
And what...
Well, one was the god of the things that were sacred to the gods of the hearth, I believe, and the other was sacred to, around the house.
Well, that would be pretty much the same thing. Lares were the spirits of ancestors, and Penates were the spirits of the storeroom or the hearth and home in general. Now, how about sock and buskin? Sock and buskin. Let's have a quick answer on that. Mr. Kieran.
Well, the sock and buskin, the sock was the stocking that was worn, and the buskin was the shoe pot that was tied around it.
Yes, and they depicted what different...
Oh, the stage.
Yes, and which characters on the stage. One depicted what? Sock depicted comedy, and the buskin tragedy. Now I think that's all we'll have time for. Mr. Cross says it is just as hard to get a real education in tobacco as it is to go through Yale or Harvard.
That's right, Mr. Fadiman. A great deal of special training is necessary before a man can become an expert tobacco buyer or auctioneer or warehouseman. Indeed, it may take him much more than 4 years of difficult apprenticeship in the tobacco warehouses before he rates as a real expert. Now, that's one reason why the judgment of these experts in the matter of cigarettes means so much to you. For they know tobacco from A to Z, and at auction after auction, they see who pays the price to get the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder leaf. Well, sworn records show that over twice as many of the independent tobacco experts, not connected with any cigarette company, smoke Lucky's exclusively as smoke all other cigarettes combined. Yes, with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-to-1. Won't you profit by their experience in selecting a cigarette of finer, lighter, milder tobaccos? Lucky Strike.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. Tonight, Lucky Strike has sent out a total of $50 and 2 sets of the Encyclopedia Britannica. And thank you, Mr. Davidson, for lending your voice and your beard this evening to Lucky Strike's party. Next week, the Kieran Adams-Levant combination will serve him up, and our guest will be the brilliant American novelist and short story writer, John O'Hara, author of the book of the smash hit musical comedy, Pal Joey. Remember, listeners, for every question we use, whether or not it's answered correctly, the sender gets $10. If the question stumps us, you not only get 25 more, but in addition, the complete set of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Send your letters with questions and correct answers to Information Please, 480 Lexington Avenue of this city. And now a parting message from Mr. L.A. Speed Riggs, famous tobacco auctioneer of Goldsboro, North Carolina.
And that chant, fully interpreted, ladies and gentlemen, means Lucky's pay higher prices for the finer, the lighter, the naturally milder tobaccos. With independent tobacco experts, auctioneers, buyers, warehousemen, with men who know tobacco best, it's Lucky's 2-to-1.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Well, that's the way it was on February 21st, 1941. I'm Henry Chop, your host. I'll tell you what we have coming up for February 22nd, 1941 in just a minute. If you enjoy the content on this channel, not only subscribe, but please donate to its upkeep. Because of the vintage old-time radio, films, and music that we feature, this channel does not qualify for YouTube monetization. Help motivate us to keep posting this wonderful content and seeking out more. We'd like to think that this channel is more interesting than any other nostalgia channel of a similar type. Help us keep going by donating. In the description section of this video, you will find a secure link to PayPal. Any little bit helps. Thank you for your support. If you love old-time radio, film, and music, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications as to when a new upload will premiere. If you are interested in World War II as much as I am, check out our other channel, the World War II newspaper channel. Expand the description section to this video and you will see a link that will take you there. Now I'd suggest listening to the latest upload to decide if it's your thing. Over there, you will hear the Chicago Tribune read to you for between 90 minutes to 2 hours. You will get a much more detailed look about what it was like to actually live through World War II than I can give you just by sharing radio broadcasts. You will not only hear detailed news of the big battles and historical events, you will hear trivial facts about the war. You will hear news from the United States home front from the early stages of U.S. mobilization and war protests to Pearl Harbor and the ramping up of the war machine to the final victories and reconversion. You will hear every facet of American life change forever. Come back again tomorrow night, and we have quite a bit of old-time radio and other stuff going on for Saturday, February 22nd, 1941. We are going to start things off with the news of the world, the morning newscast over NBC. Then we're going to have, of course, Jungle Jim front page drama and Edgar A. Guest. We've been featuring those three programs every Saturday. Then we have another interesting program celebrating George Washington's birthday. We have a program called An American President, and George Washington's biography is featured on this. And then, of course, we're going to count down the top 10 songs of the week. We're going to see if there was any change in that countdown. And I will be your disc jockey as we go through that. And, well, you know, it's kind of a fun thing. It's one of my personal highlights of the week. And then on a separate video, if I could find a couple movies that were playing in the Chicago area, preferably the downtown Chicago movie houses, movie theaters, I'll play a couple movies. I like to try to get a double feature in. We will see how that works. So I have not even begun to look for those yet, but I'll find them. So until then, my name is Henry Chop, your host. Let's turn off this old tube radio. That's our time machine. Good night. God bless.
This changing world, this changing scene, where is it taking us? What does it mean? As long as we're certain of each other, we know we don't have to be afraid. These changing times we rise above. We have no time for them. We have our love, and love is the only thing that still remains the same through all this change.